Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Great Transition. And pretty much this lesson is inspired by a video I was watching by the brother, the up and coming elder, Salakia Awarum out of the Alabama camp, GMS Alabama camp. And he was doing a lesson here called "Insomuch if it were possible shall deceive the very elect." And at the beginning of this, around the 1 minute mark or so, he was speaking about we're witnessing the kingdom being stripped from one people and given to another. And the one people being the Edomites, and the people that it's being given to are the Israelites, beginning with Yahushai. Now, I just found this quote here. I wanted to just highlight this. This is from Chief Seattle. It says, "There is no death, only a change of worlds." And pretty much that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing a change of worlds. And that is the great transition or the great transfer. As each prophecy comes to pass, Esau's kingdom is falling and the kingdom of heaven is being established. The kingdom of heaven being Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's kingdom / Yasha Allah, which are the Israelites. And we're witnessing this great transition, although it seems like their plans are going forward, which they are. And it seems like they have a strong foothold on the world, which they do. This is all part of the prophecy that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has set up for them to do these things in order to bring forth the prophecies. Things can't move forward unless the prophecies are fulfilled. So the more that this devil does in setting up this world system that he's setting up, the closer we get to the kingdom of heaven. As hard as it will be, as difficult as it will appear, and as hard as it gets, this is all a part of the transition into the kingdom of heaven. All right, so I ran across this here on Wikipedia, Great Transition. It says Great Transition is used by the Great Transition Initiative and its predecessor, the Global Scenario Group, GSG, to describe a vision of a just and sustainable global future. Now, keep in mind, this is dealing with Esau's nonsense, but we're looking at it from the lens of the scriptures and prophecy for the future kingdom to come. It says the term was originally coined by Kenneth E. Boulding in the meaning of the 20th century. It says the Great Transition, 1964, and describes a shift from pre-modern to postmodern culture and the 4 possible courses of action that these organizations believe will allow humanity to successfully manage the Great Transition. Elements of the Great Transition vision include egalitarian social and ecological values, increase interhuman connectivity, improved quality of life and a healthy planet, as well as the absence of poverty, war, and environmental destruction. The Great Transition concept was cited by Prime Minister of Bhutan, Jigme Thinley, Josh Ryan Collins of the New Economic Foundation, and the Capital Institute. It was used as a theme for the 2011 Smart CSOs Conference on Strategies for Civil Society Organizations in London. Now, keep in mind, this is all rhetoric for Esau's future, for the vision that they see for themselves. See, they're painting it as a future for everyone, but it's really a future for the so-called elites and the ones that, play ball with them, so to speak. But we're looking at it from the lens of the scriptures, from the lens of, a healthier planet, a better quality of life, improved, everything is going to go back to what it's supposed to be. This is why in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, it says that the nations, they're waiting for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High, because they know that once we get in power, even though they're going to go into captivity and have to pay for all the wickedness they've done, they know that they're going to get a fair shake. Under Esau, they're only going to get crumbs. When the kingdom of heaven is established, these nations they're going to be slaves, but they're going to get, their due, so to speak. It's not going to be, they're not going to get ripped off, so to speak, for lack of better words, so like I can't explain it any better than that, but they know they're not going to get shafted. All right, then it says history, the Great Transition was first introduced by the Global Scenario Group, and we pretty much get the idea. This is for, a global plan, to set up a great transition to make a better place on the earth, but we're looking at it from the lens of the scriptures and prophecy. All right, so the first, and I put this as well as this in the description box. There's really not much here to read. I just thought it was a little interesting to go along with the lesson. So we're going to start off with a couple of precepts that I was going through. I was reading certain scriptures and they were leading me to other precepts, so I wrote a couple of precepts down. And I just want to go through them, and Lord's will, it'll be an edifying lesson. Psalms 10:4, it says, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. This is why you have devils like Yuval Harari, Noah, whatever his name is, saying that they can piss the Most High off as much as they want, because their connectivity to the Lord is not pleasing the Lord on the right hand side. It's doing and pushing that left hand energy, which they were created to do, because the wicked were created for the day of wrath, and the day of wrath is a day of destruction. So in order for them to be destroyed, they have to commit wicked acts, and this is why we see the world in the condition that it's in, because they are comfortable dwelling among wickedness, dwelling among darkness. And in order for, if they're going to rule, so they think they are, they want a world that is comforting to them, that they can do whatever they want to do without having to worry about anybody saying anything about it. It says, his ways are always grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. So they don't see the righteousness of the Most High. It's out of their sight. All they see is their plans. They don't include the Most High in it. It says, as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right, and this is why the nations are mad with this whole, even their own allies. Because here it is, they're supposed to be in this union, a global union, but America, especially America, these Edomites in America, are puffing at their enemies, and they're, really just using these nations to get what they want, And like always, every time Esau gets what he wants, he always kicks everybody else to the curb. It says, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity, because they think they're going to rule forever, and they're not. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And these are all the things that are with him. This is why the Lord said, never trust thine enemy. For as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. The words that they're using are fair words, but the intentions behind those fair words are devious. So let's go from there. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, and the 8th verse. It says, if thou seest the oppression of the poor, and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, and this is what we see going on. No one really gets a fair shake unless it's talking about Esau. No, it's not. Babylon is America, It's America. It's not the whole entire elites ruling or running the world. You know, it's America, Babylon the Great. And if you can't get with that, if you think otherwise, you know, either watch and learn or move on. We ain't got time for foolishness. You're not here to teach. You are here to learn. If you're not here to learn, move on. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, right? Because you have those that are in higher positions in this society that see these things and they regard these things. And this is why eventually certain ones that are in these organizations come out and come against the organizations because they see the wickedness going on, because they're in privileged positions because of, you know, their high, you know, access to the inside. It says, and there be higher than they, right? So it goes all the way to the top. And they see all of this. All right, so now let's jump from there. Let's jump to the 13th verse. It says, there is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. See, because everything that these devils have done, they're not going to get away with. They're going to pay. But because they haven't paid, you know, quickly, as it says here, let's get this one real quick. They're going to continue to do what they do. And we're going to come back to this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. I'm just going to go to the point, but I'm going to come back to this. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil, right? Because the Lord doesn't bring judgment upon them quickly and swiftly, but he will. Remember, the Most High is long-suffering. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is long-suffering. What are the Most High willing to show his power? You know, endure with much long-suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. He has to allow them to do what they do, so that he, when he brings the pain down on them, he brings a judgment, it's all justified. All right, so going back to Ecclesiastes 5 and 13, there is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. Because these riches that they received, they didn't receive by hard work and dedication, you know, and constantly, you know, on the grind. These riches that they have, they got through fraud, through deceit, through rape, robbery, so on and so forth. And that's why the world is looking at these devils the way that they are. Because it's because of them that the world is suffering. As the world suffers and becomes poorer and poorer, they become richer and richer. It says, but those riches perish by evil travail, right? Because nothing goes unpunished. The old saying, you reap what you sow. And he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand, right? Because eventually, all of these riches that they're stacking up for the future, for future generations, but all of those riches are going to be transferred in due time. Now let's go to the next chapter, the 6th chapter, and the 1st verse. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and is common among men. A man to whom the Most High giveth riches, has given riches, wealth, and honor. You know, and even though the Lord said he's spewing, you know, shameful spewing on their glory, they do have all of these things, riches, wealth, and honor. You know, even though, you know, eventually it's all the truth is gonna come out on them as to how they really got all these riches, and it's already coming out on them. But the point is that they still have it, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. Because look, the scriptures say that he has more, they have more than heart can wish. There's nothing that's restrained from them. There's nothing that they can't accomplish or can't achieve on the earth. There's nothing that is not within their grasp, except for one thing, which we're going to get to. Yet the Most High giveth him not power to eat thereof. Why? Because all of these riches that they're amassing for the last days, they're really amassing to give it to the Israelites, beginning with, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai and the Israelites. It says, but a stranger eateth it, and this is vanity, and it is an evil disease. Right, because eventually all of those riches that they have accumulated are going to be given to the Israelites. So pretty much it's vanity, the way that they've gathered all of this, because they've gathered it for themselves, but really they're going to give it to us. Now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 20. And we're going to start at verse 18, and we're going to read a couple of verses here. It says, that which he laid before shall he restore, right? Because there's going to be a great restoration, a great transition. There will be reparations paid, but the reparations are not going to be in the form of dollar bills. Reparations are going to be, first and foremost, themselves as the slaves, and themselves being handed over to go through the things and suffer the things that they brought upon us. Then all of their riches and things that they've amassed through this deceit and fraud is going to be handed over to the people of the Most High. It says, and shall not swallow it down. Right, so they're going to restore, but they're not going to swallow it down, meaning they're not going to get to enjoy it. According to his substance, which is what? What is his substance? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So his substance is what? He has a whole entire planet. But he's not content with that. He wants more. It says, according to his substance shall what? The restitution be. So as much as they have, that's what they're going to restore. That's what's going to be used for the reparations. That's going to be real and true reparations, including them as servants. And they're going to be the first crop of slaves. The nobles, the kings, the rulers of all nations, beginning with Esau. And he shall not rejoice therein. Right, so he's not going to be able to enjoy any of these riches that they're stacking up for this new world order. It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor. See? And this is one of the things that the Most High hates. He hath oppressed and forsaken the poor. And the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. But it's not because of bad trading. It's because of, ripping the poor off. It says, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Right. And pretty much he's taken away the whole world, which he did not build. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, meaning in his mind. Because the reason why they're doing this, outside of the Most High putting the Spirit on them to push that left hand energy, is because they want to be secure. They want to build their nest egg. That's in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. Matter of fact, let's go to Habakkuk 2. And I'll start at 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. So it's going to be something that's going to come from all nations, including the Israelites. Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein, because of everything that you've done worldwide. It says, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house. Right, because they've coveted lands, fields, resources, people, and what? And they took it upon themselves by false pretense, by false flags, by fraud, by deceit, that he may what? Set his nest on high, so that they can be at peace, at ease, mentally, physically, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And we know that once you sin against your soul, there's nothing you can give in exchange for that. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Why? Because eventually, that the way that they set this place up, is how it's going to go down. You set it up through violence, it's going to go down by violence. Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down. So going back to Job 20 and 20, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desired. And this is the reason and purpose for their agenda, so that they can live good, so that they can eat whatever they want, all the good stuff that they have, that they eat for themselves, and then have, cull the herd, and then once they get to a manageable size, have them to be servants, giving them the worst of everything to eat. It says, there shall none of his meat be left, there shall no man look for his goods, right? Because people are getting rich off of this whole here, America, Babylon the Great. And nobody's going to be looking for their meat. Why? Because America is not going to be here. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, meaning when they have it all, they're going to be in a position of difficulty. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And when you look up this word wicked, I believe the Hebrew word is aimal, which means the laborers, the ones that he ripped off. This goes hand in hand with the book of James, the 5th chapter. When he is about to fill his belly, meaning when he's about to sit down and eat and enjoy the fruits of his demonic labor and enjoy his so-called New World Order, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So while he's celebrating this New World Order, the Lord is going to bring him down. And then as you read on, it tells you in what fashion he's going to bring him down, which is going to be those missiles, the same missiles that they use to threaten the world is the same instrument that is going to be used to destroy them, to bring them to their end. So now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter, and the Apocrypha. And we're going to start at 1 and we're going to jump a little bit. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And if a government of a prudent man is well ordered, the people prosper. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And you see the cutthroat way that the world and these world leaders are. Why? Because the rulers are cutthroat. They're rip-off artists. They're scumbags. And what manner of man the ruler of a city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And this is why you see a world of wickedness, because the people that are in charge are super wicked. It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. See? And what happens? Because eventually that kingdom is lost because it was built upon wickedness. It was established upon demonic principles. But through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. This is why Yahweh Shai is going to come back and take his rightful place on the throne. And the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, will be in that position underneath Yahweh Shai, ruling in the kingdom. And it's going to be ruled in righteousness. Now we jump down to the 8th verse, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. And this has the footprints of Esau all over. Unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. This is how they got the world. The kingdom is what? Translated from one people to another. So what I did was I went to this, the Apocrypha. It's in Latin. It's the Jerome Apocrypha. And you have words here in the Latin, right? Regnum is kingdom, gente, in gente, people to people. And you have here the word here is transfertur, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. To bear across, bring through, carry over, convey over, transport, transfer. So we're witnessing a great transfer or a great transition. And although his agenda is moving forward, pretty much is moving forward to bring forth the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's plans of prophecy. All right. So Now let's go from there to the book of Proverbs, chapter 28. And verse 8. It says, he that by usury and unjust gain increases his substance. And this is exactly what they did. This is why they set up America as the catapult for the New World Order. And this is why they had all these different wars to set up central banks in America to be able to control the monetary unit of this country. So that way, in them controlling the monetary unit of this country, they could eventually set up a world reserve currency through their fraudulent money and be able to take over the entire planet Earth and put the whole world in debt to them. Because the one thing they understand is money. One thing they understand is that the need for money brings forth debt, and debt brings forth slavery. They understand that. He said, he that by usury and unjust gain increases that his substance, he shall gather it for him that will what? Pity the poor. Because all of these riches that they have are going to be transferred. The great transfer. You could read the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter, Isaiah 61. They go into that great transfer in detail. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, because they have the law. They profess that they, have been established upon so-called Christian principles, but they do not follow the tenets of the scriptures. Even his prayer shall what? Be abomination. And this is one of the scriptures that we used to use to prove that Cornelius was not an Edomite. Cornelius is in fact an Israelite, because the Lord heard his prayers, and the prayers of Esau are abominable to the Most High. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way. And how do they do this? The accuser of thy brethren. They put the bottle to Jake's mouth, make them drink it, and then accuse them to the Father. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit. See? But the upright shall have good things in possession. Because all of these goodies that they have are going to be transferred over to us, beginning with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, now let's go from there. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 8. Let's start at 6, and then we're going to read down to the 11th verse. Because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore the misery of man is great upon him. So everything on the earth has a purpose, and it has a time, and it has judgment. And we're witnessing these things. This is why the Lord said through the mouth of King Solomon, wake not my love till he please. Because the Lord has a set time for each prophecy to start speaking. And when it starts speaking, we know, okay, well, this is this prophecy, this is that prophecy, this is what's next. And once we start seeing, these things sounding off, then we know that prophecy is rolling right in, But before this prophecy can come in and fully manifest itself, this prophecy has to be fully fulfilled, which is the prophecy of the MOTB, which everybody and their mama is talking about now. Before, nobody was talking about it. Now everybody's talking about it. Before, you were considered a nut, a conspiracy nut. Now it's the in thing. It's hip to know about the C-hip. It says, because to every purpose there is time and judgment, therefore the misery of man is great upon him, for he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be? Right, because you don't know the future. See, Esau's thing is they're proud. So they said, we're going to go to the future. This is why we're doing this. We got the AI, we got, cryogenics, and we got these sleeves, and then we taking people's conscience and uploading it online so you can live forever, blah, 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 blah. There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit. And this is the one thing that Esau has searched out many things. Esau has went to the extremes. They have, accomplished a diligent search. But one thing that they cannot search out or find out the mystery to is the retaining of that spirit, because they want to live forever. But that is a promise that was given to the Israelites. not to the Edomites or the other nations. You see? And this is what they're trying to capture. This is why they'll film stuff. They'll do all type of experiments, because they're trying to capture the spirit. But you can't. You cannot capture the spirit. You cannot stop a person from dying. You could do, you can put tubes in them, do this, that, and the other, but once that spirit is gone out of that body, that person is dead. It says, neither hath he power in the day of death, see? And there is no discharge in that war, because there's nothing that you could do to win that battle, because death is a sentence over all flesh until the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, gives the Israelites, that change. It says, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. Right. And these devils are super wicked. They know they're wicked, and they think that they're going to be delivered by that wickedness. And you're not. All this have I seen, and applied my heart unto every work that is done under the sun. There is a time wherein one man ruleth over another to his own hurt. Right. So you were living it up. But for now, you were living it up. But you didn't consider the latter end of that. Now that we coming to the latter end, you're trying to cop a plea. But it's too late now. It says, and so I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy. Right, and you see that. Because eventually they're going to be buried in that land over there. The land of Yasha'Allah. And they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This is also vanity, right? Because eventually, the way that everybody looks at Esau today, there's going to be one day when the world is not going to even think about Esau anymore. He's going to be a distant memory. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. And that's why they continue to do what they do, because the Lord is long suffering. All right, now let's go from there to Job chapter 21. We're going to read a few verses and to see how far we can get in it. Job 21:7. This is an excellent, this along with the 20th chapter, excellent chapters on the downfall of Esau. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power, right? Because the scriptures say they have more than heart can wish. They are not in trouble as other men. It's June. Ain't no micro C hip. But like the brother said, it's everywhere. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes, right? Because here it is, they have generational wealth. They have stuff that they pass on to their descendants. They're not in trouble as other men. Their horses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of the Most High upon them, right? Because the Most High lets them do what they got to do. Why? There's a scripture in the Apocrypha where it says that the Lord doesn't chastise the nations. He waits to the very last moment. Then when he hits them, he destroys them. But with Israel, with us, it's not like that. The Lord punishes us little by little so that we won't be swallowed up by those afflictions. You see? It says, their bull gendereth and faileth not, their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. Right? This is dealing with their businesses. Their businesses prosper. Years ago, Elder Apostle Gabar and Elder Apostle Rakad, and he's mentioned it before, said how they were on 86th Street, selling oils and incense and things of that nature. And there was this witch that came up and told them, he said, there's forces out here that's stopping y'all from making money. And they said, oh yeah, we know that. And then he just walked away. See, but on their side, them demons are with them. This is why when Jake gets into something, a lot of times it doesn't prosper, it doesn't work. Why? Because of the curses. And there's always a lack of, integrity, it's a lack of devotion, it's a lack of, self-motivation. And no, it's the curses. It says they send forth the little ones like a flock, and their children dance, right? Because they're always having a good time. Why not rejoice when you got everything? They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth and in a moment go down to the grave, right? Because they do spend their days in wealth. But eventually they're going to go down suddenly. Suddenly. Therefore they say unto the Most High, inside joke, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. Why? Because they are the wicked. But here it is, you're trying to convert them to something that has nothing, that doesn't excite them. Righteousness doesn't excite these devils. Wickedness excites them, but righteousness does not. No, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of this word, the righteousness of it, does not excite them. Pleasing the Lord and doing things that are pleasing unto Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai does not excite them. What excites them is anything that's wicked. The more perverse, the more on fire they are to learn about it. It says, what is the Almighty that we should serve him, and what profit should we have if we pray unto him? This should have Harari's picture right next to it. Talking about you could piss the Most High off as much as you want. Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributeth sorrows in his anger. And, can you just imagine that? Here it is. They got the whole world in their hand. Inside joke. And one day they wake up and it's all gone. After they put so much work and effort into this wickedness to get everything. And then all of a sudden they wake up one morning and it's all gone. And they're back to the proper state. The proper state that they belong in. That's going to be something, man. It says they are as stubble before the wind and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. Right, because in a moment, in 1 hour, all these great riches are going to be gone. And they're going to see their world go up in smoke in those shelters, but they're not going to repent because they're thinking that they're going to, we just got to start from, babe, we got to start, we got to start from scratch. Booby, we got to start from scratch, all right? And then they think they're going to come out and start all over again, but it's going to be a surprise waiting for them. They're going to have some new jewelry to adorn, and that's going to be them chains, literal chains. It says the Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their parents. Why? Because they are their fathers coming back in the reincarnation. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. Right, because they're going to know. The Lord said he will not at all acquit the wicked. His eyes shall see his destruction. Why? Because they're going to be in those bunkers. They're going to hear about it. They're going to know. Say, oh my God, this place is rocked. And they're going to feel the earth rocking to and fro, even in them shelters. Because the Lord said the whole earth is going to rock to and fro like a drunkard. So they're going to feel it all. The lights probably, coming in and out. They're rocking back and forth in their bunkers. They're probably strapped in with seat belts on, on the wall. And then after it's all said and done, say, okay, well, booby, now we can, we got to rebuild. Let's see what's out there. And boom. Going right into captivity. And he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. Because how is the Lord going to show his wrath? Well, yeah, vengeance belongs unto the Most High. Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. But how is he going to show his vengeance? Ezekiel 25:14. And I will lay my vengeance upon who? Edom. Who are the Edomites? So-called white people. By the hand of my people Israel, who are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the Lord is going to bring vengeance upon Esau by his people Israel. So back in Job 21:20, his eyes shall see his destruction, he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Because they only have a certain amount of time to judge. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right. So this is a great chapter. This in the 20th chapter. Now the last precept I'm gonna leave you with is in the book of Revelation 11 and 15. It says, "And the seventh angel sounded, and once the seventh trumpet blows, ooh, ooh." That's all I'm gonna say. Inside joke. When we go to the book of Job, chapter 5, because 7 represents completion. You know. This is the book of Job, chapter 5, verse 19. "He shall deliver thee what? In 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee." So the elect have to be out of here at the end of the 6, as the 7 trumpet is blowing. That's why it says this, the righteous shall scarcely be saved, as they say, by the skin of their teeth. So at the very end of the 6th trumpet blowing, and then the 7th trumpet beginning to blow, the elect will be out of here, and that's when the destruction comes. So that's why it says, Revelation 11:15, "And the 7th angel sounded, and there was great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord." And who's that? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, "and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever." So his kingdom shall never be taken away from him, and the dominion shall never be taken away from him. You know, this is an everlasting promise that the Most High gave to Yahushai and to the elect of the nation of Israel and the rest of Israel eventually. Daniel 2:44, the divine kingdom. "And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people," because no other nation is going to ever take our Lord or us down ever again. That ain't going to happen. Esau ain't going to come back, after 1,000 years, and no. You need to go back and read that again. "But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever." Forever. "For as much as thou sawest a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands," that's dealing with Yahushai, "and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold." This is dealing with all of those empires, beginning with the Assyrio-Babylonian Empire. "The great power hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure," because we have a more sure word of prophecy. So this is, the great transition. I got to finish watching this video, but what I did watch was about 3 minutes. And it, as I watched it, about the first minute, I got inspired to do a lesson. This is called, "In so much if it were possible shall deceive the very elect." And the brother, let me see if I could just get that real quick.
"And the one people being Edom." So yeah, I just wanted to go into another quick lesson, what we witnessing right now. And obviously I'm speaking to those amongst you out there who have eyes to see. It's the kingdom being stripped from one people and given over to another. And the one people being Edom, the so-called white man, versus the children of Israel, which would consist of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
And that's the great transition. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.